Welcome to the Dark Horde podcast, and it seems like I skipped a week. You know, I've been pretty sick the last maybe 10 days, week and a half or so. I don't know what it is. It just will not go away. Could this be, a little bit of the COVID? I don't know. I really, there's not too many places that I go anymore these days, thanks to Wuhan and the coronaviruses. But I just didn't have the energy. The Dark Horde podcast should be every other week. We skipped a week after we had Chris Garcia on here, the psychic from San Antonio, stopping by and chatting with us for a little bit. But we need to get back on it. We got to get back on track and start talking about this paranormal craziness, because there's quite a few of it here. One thing that I want to mention is that on the Tempest Universe podcast, there is actually a contest that I started. Now, I know that there's some people who don't cross that line between UFOs and the paranormal, but there's other people who are all in it. As a matter of fact, most of the psychics that I've talked to for the podcast, or, just in passing, most of them believe in UFOs. A lot of them say they contact them on a regular basis. But notwithstanding that fact, there is a contest that's in the description right now, and it is to win a copy of the recently published book by Professor Avi Loeb, the book entitled Extraterrestrial, the first sign. Oh, God, I'm fucking this up. I told you I don't feel well. Let me start this over. 1, 2, 3. Extraterrestrial, the first sign of intelligent life beyond Earth. And I've got 2 copies. All you got to do is go to the link, register for the sweepstakes, and if you feel froggy and you want more entries in order to give you a better opportunity to winning, there's social action you can take. And by social action, I'm not saying go out and save a lost puppy. What I'm saying is you can go on there, you can subscribe, you can retweet, you can follow the podcast on many different of the avenues that are on there and earn extra points. The best thing is some of those things you can repeat every other day or every day and continue to earn points until the drawing, which will be on February 28th at midnight. There's actually 3 copies. 2 copies are going out in the contest. The 3rd copy, I'm taking that for myself. I'm going to read through it. Then I'm going to pack that baby up with a bunch of stuff. A lot of, podcast merchandise. And that will be in a second contest for one lucky winner to get that delivered to them. And it's got to be a lot of stuff in there. Maybe even some like local San Antonio stuff, if you will. Maybe a jar of chili. I don't know. Something like that. Some cowboy boots. Nice big ass belt buckle. That'll probably add like about 10 pounds to the box. Who knows? We'll see what it is. But we'll unveil that in March, along with the tinfoil hat contest that's coming as part of the Tempest universe. In the meantime, we've got some stories here. I was kind of shocked and amazed of some of the craziness that's going on in the paranormal world, around the world in general. I did come across a story from, those stories that talk about all these different, actors and musicians and those guys who have been having all these paranormal and UFO experiences. It seems to be really, really prevalent. But we'll get into that in another episode, because it seems like we just need them all together so we can figure this out. Because the latest one was Post Malone and his experiences in the paranormal, along with UFOs as well. I mean, it's getting nuts. I don't know if coronavirus or COVID-19 has anything to do with this. It may be possible. Who knows? We're going to get started with the first track. And then after that, we're going to head down to South Carolina, because, geez Louise, what the hell is going on over there?
I've been wasting my time. I don't know why I can't get you out my mind. And if I find a way to get it, when I do it, I can live it and forget it. 'Cause I hate how much much I love you or I hate how you just put me in my feelings. I just wish you understood the gravity, but you got low sinners. I guess it's better just to live it and forget it than to live it and remember. I've been wasting my time. I don't know why I can't get you out my mind. Yeah, now I'm so lost, where do I go? I was in the chase, caught a flat on road. It was all love, X no O. I was feeling rich, but we turned out broke. North Pole, life so cold. Lukewarm love, should've took it to the stove. You were bad news, all kind, no pro. We grew apart fast. I guess we was reaping what we sowed in. I guess we was unequally yoked in. Guess if we was putting on the shoulder, guess we should've tried to take it slow then. Guess I let my feelings take control. Guess I let my demon take the wheel. Used to think that we be growing older. Now I can't believe that it was real. It was back in late December when I did it. I just wish I could forget it. Cause I hate how much I love it, oh I hate how I just love to catch a feeling. Yeah. And you told me that you understood the gravity, but now I know you didn't. I guess it's better just to live it and forget it than to live it and remember.
Dead man walking.
It turns out that there's a group of folks that were out having a good time, right? This is the way it always starts. And this is actually how most horror movies starts, right? The people are out there having a good time, and they start getting curious about things. There was a group of folks riding four-wheelers out in South Carolina, and Orangeburg County, a.k.a. Norway, South Carolina. Now, from what I saw, the census for this town back in 2010, which was like 11 years ago, was only a little bit, 367, 380 people altogether. So there should be no surprise when you come across an empty house. And more than likely, this group that was riding around in four-wheelers, they might have come to this house quite a few times. But this time, it was a little different. Madison Childers was one of those individuals riding on the four-wheelers that happened to go into this house in Norway, South Carolina. And, they go in there, as I'm sure young folk do. Now, I know this kid here is not, a youngin' because the name's in the damn article. Because I'm sure no parent would want their kid's name in the article. And I don't even think you can, to be honest, due to the age. But so apparently, Madison's of age. And Madison and the four-wheeler gang going up and down Norway decided to go into this house, which, the article says it was known to be a haunted house, but probably is now, after what they found. The group found a decomposed body inside of a freezer and were shocked and amazed. Now, it's one thing to go into the house, that's abandoned and stuff like that. But, make yourself at home, why don't you? Why not go in and start opening everything you can find? And that's what they did. And they came across the freezer, and there was the body. And it was just decomposing in the worst possible way. According to Madison, it was very scary. You couldn't tell it was a person. But I think it had been there for months. There were maggots everywhere. That is just horrific. Could you imagine just walking into anything and finding a decomposed body? And the smell of it must have been horrific, to be honest. Like, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even imagine what that would be like. And there was there was a group of people. So one of the other witnesses says as soon as the seal broke loose, it was just horrifying to smell. It's something you won't forget. Well, for fuck's sake, I bet you those guys are not going to be going in to any more haunted or empty abandoned houses or buildings and opening the shit that's in there. I mean, completely silly, right? Some of that shit is dangerous. Some of those houses are barely standing up, barely erect. But it's a fun thing to do, right? It's scary. Why not have a good old time? Well, look at you. You probably just solved a murder. Or maybe you solved the reason why the place is abandoned. Because the owner's stuck in the freezer. Like, a lot of these stories, you can't make this stuff up. Could you imagine? I mean, I couldn't even... Well, first of all, you wouldn't find me in there to begin with. Let's be honest about that. I would not be caught dead or alive inside of a freezer of an abandoned house. Unless somebody put me in there, then for fuck's sake, the jig is up. But it's crazy. Completely crazy that this happened. Norway, your town's not even big enough to have shit like this happen. I mean, someone should have known that somebody was missing. I mean, you barely got 400 people as of 11 years ago. We now have 399. Where's that one person? Small town issues. The struggle is real. There's more to this article because apparently the local sheriff really doesn't have a lead in this investigation. They're investigating it to find out what the heck's going on. But something else happened because after they found the body, after this group of youngsters went in on their four-wheelers, having a good time, they found the body, probably upchucked quite a lot. 2 days later, the house was burned to the ground. Somebody trying to hide the evidence? Come on, coppers. What the hell's going on in Norway? Literally, we just found a reason not to move there. It sounds dangerous. So right now they're investigating both of the incidents. Like if they're not, I don't even say why they got here both incidents. Like they're not even related. I mean the house abandoned and all accidentally just combusted into flames. So it's a separate incident. This is nuts. Completely nuts. Not the kind of town that I would want to live in. Thank you very much, South Carolina. There's more to the story you can read, and maybe we'll get an update. Maybe eventually the Sheriff's Department in Orangeburg County will give the rest of the world an update as to who they found in the freezer and who the hell set the fire. Because I guarantee you, whoever set the fire, probably the one who stuck the body in the freezer to begin with. Crazy. For sure, that place is haunted now. No fucks are given. That is absolutely true. Check out the description. More news to come, I'm sure.
Got me feeling like a drop in the sun. Cause I'm a true psychopath. When you're lost, take your trust. That's me. That's so sick. I'm a fraud, call me a liar. A true psycho. I'm a fraud, call me a liar. A true psychopath, don't love me. When you're lost, take your trust. Yeah, that's me. Oh, that's me, that's me, that's me. 'Cause I'm a fraud. Call me a liar. A true psychopath.
The funny thing is, I said initially, well, excuse me. I said initially at the start of the podcast that I've been sick for like about 10 days, but actually it's been almost like 3 weeks actually, because I was having some crazy paranormal-like experiences. And then all of a sudden, all of this lack of energy. Someone even said something about a succubus. It's really, don't know too much about succubuses, to be honest, or succubi. But scary shit, really. Could it be that that's what's happening right now? I won't know, I guess, until I find out. Have you ever visited one of the places that's known as being one of the scariest places in your damn state? And really, why would you go there? Especially if not what you do. Like, I can understand if a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator, got his all equipment together, got the gang together, they got into their vans, and they headed to the most haunted place in their city, in their state, on their side of the country. Who knows? But when a regular old Joe decides, hey, I've got nothing better to do, why don't we just grab some brewskis and go to the most haunted cemetery in our town? Something's bound to happen, right? I can't imagine that it's known as the most haunted cemetery in your city for no damn reason. Tyler K, and I'm saying K because his name is crazy. Tyler K, 26-year-old, decided he would pay a visit to the Pine Hill Cemetery in Hollis, New Hampshire. New Hampshire, if you're from the U.S. But I like using those UK pronunciations. So New Hampshire. The burial ground is also known as the Blood Cemetery. I mean, if that's not a clue, what is? The reason it's called the Blood Cemetery is because there's a family there whose last name is Blood. I mean, that's your sign right there. That's your first sign. Like if there's a whole damn family there and they named the family burial site, they named the entire family cemetery after the place, and then it's one of those names where it's like, oh, like the vampires or the wicked witches. I mean, it's not the fairies or the ponies. No, it's the Blood family. Gable Blood apparently is rumored to have murdered. He was murdered, but he had occult connections. The issue with the Pine Hill Cemetery is that people believe that it is haunted by the Blood family. I'm all congested. I sound all crazy. But Tyler K decided, hey, I'm going to go over there and, check it out. I'm going to take my best bud with me. And we are going to do some investigation. Let's prove whether or not this place is really haunted. He says when he arrived with his friend, it was close to midnight. Again, strike number 2. That is strike number 2 for you. He arrived with his friend at the cemetery, and it wasn't long before they got there that they realized why the place has a reputation of being haunted. He says, and I quote here, some spots were cold, some were warm. It was strange. I believe a lot of it was my adrenaline, but it is possible I was feeling the presence of a spirit. He says, I noticed a figure at one point when I turned around. It moved quickly, but it scared me. And then does he leave that? No. Here comes strike number 3. He doesn't leave. He doesn't say, hey, buddy, old pal, why don't we go find a 24-hour McDonald's and just stuff our faces and just relive that we just conquered this cemetery? That's not what he does. What he does is he turns around to his friend and he says, hey, why don't you take a picture before we leave? When they get home, they realize that they captured a figure walking among the tombstones. So that figure that he saw just out of the corner of his eye, accidentally, that spooked him, showed up on the pictures. So when they got home, they took a look at the pictures and they were like, wow, there is a body, a ghost, a spirit, a boogeyman in between these tombstones, which if you look at the image for this episode, that is the picture that was taken by Mr. K and his buddy hanging out at the Pine Hill Cemetery. That's scary as shit, right? Because it's one thing if you just caught the picture, whatever, you go back, but he had the feeling. He felt like something was there. He saw it out of the corner of his eye, and he felt like it scurried away. That is just bananas. To really add insult to injury, the place where this apparition is, it's by the headstone of Abel Blood. There you go. Now, it's not just Abel Blood is there. Also, Elizabeth Blood is there. And some other family members. That is crazy. Tyler K believes that the ghost in the picture is actually Elizabeth Blood. Because it appears to look like a woman. Shaped in the shape of a woman. And she's actually standing behind her own headstone. That is completely nuts. When you have these connections to the occult and you have the last name like Blood, that is scary as hell. There's a little more to this particular story. You should check it out. You guys, out there in New Hampshire, what is going on? What is it? I wonder why they don't have like 24-hour surveillance here, because being one of the most haunted places in New Hampshire, there's got to be cameras on that place. Well, there's other families, but you can put it up for security reasons, To hell with that. And, I would love to have one of these places that's known to be super haunted to just have 24-hour surveillance so that you can just log in. You don't have to go there. Could you imagine you bring something home with you from one of these places? That's a bad time for everyone in your homestead. But it would be great if you found one of these haunted places, put up a bunch of cameras, let them run 24 hours, and let people get on from the internet just to watch. Ghost hunt coronavirus style. It's a good idea. Somebody go ahead and run with it.
Seen it come.
Now, early on the podcast, we had a few stories which had to do with haunted property. You know, these places where you know it's haunted and it becomes part of the I don't know, the ambiance of living in the area that everyone knows is one place. And people buy these haunted places where people report having experiences and turn them into like little tourist, traps. Part of the ghost tour or something like that, where they let people come in buses and just take a tour in the hopes of getting touched, if you know what I mean. Apparently in Hong Kong, things are a little different. People are not turning these haunted places into tourist traps because it's so damn crowded. Yeah, no. That's not what's happening in Hong Kong. What's happening there is it's so freaking expensive. And the only way you can catch a break, besides being, in the same area of the world, pretty close to breathing or spit distance from Wuhan. Well, it's not that close, but I'm just saying. They're much closer than us. But housing is horrid. It's kind of like living in New York, You pay like $1 million for a closet that has a sink in it that doubles as a toilet. And you have, 200 square feet. That's your $1 million pad in New York City. And Hong Kong is just as bad. We see it in the movies all the time, right? Hong Kong is just crowded as hell. But if you happen to die or happen to find a place where someone died, that property value is going to depreciate. Because even if you are not buying the place where the person died or a family member died or something like that, the properties or the apartments around you will also drop in value. And you get to buy it up. Now, these prices are freaking ridiculous. I'm going to tell you this right now. So if your property has been stigmatized by murder or suicide, you could get it for about 30% cheaper than the normal rate. These agents are making a killing, literally. Here's an example of the kind of deals you can get in Hong Kong if you don't mind a little haunting. 612 square feet in Elizabeth House, and that's part of the Causeway Bay, in May of last year. And again, a lot of this has to do with COVID, I'm sure. But it sold for 8.9 million Hong Kong dollars. 22% below market. For fuck's sake, who's going to... You realize it's down 22%. The price is in the millions. And it's down not because the area is messed up, not because, real estate is jacked up. No, it's down because somebody freaking died there. Down in the millions. That should... Really, you should measure the level of haunting you're going to get on the Hong Kong dollar value. If it goes down that much, you may need to look somewhere else. Go into a province somewhere. Get in the train. Take the train or something. I don't know. Get yourself a motorcycle. Because you literally are you going to pay 8.9 million Hong Kong dollars just to get haunted? Probably possessed. And you'll need to be exorcised, I'm sure. That's what's going on in Hong Kong right now. This particular place that was purchased for the 22% below the value, the actual death did not happen there. No one died there. On the same floor, someone did. There was an unsolved murder that was dating back to 1984, impacting the price of those units in 2020. Somebody needs to solve that shit already. Let's get this. I mean, for the price that these things are selling, I would make up a solved case just to make sure I don't lose 23% of the sale price. That is just bananas. There's another area in Hong Kong called City 1. In City 1, in the Sha Tin area, there was a flat, 451 square feet. Another one next to it was haunted. Sold for 6.38 million Hong Kong dollars, 20% below the norm for the area, where people don't die. Only because there was another unit in that apartment complex, that building, where somebody died. Now, here's the funny thing is, if you really want to deal in Hong Kong, and you don't mind a little ghost or haunting, a little bit of the possession, City 1 apparently has a very high prevalence of homes that are tainted with unnatural deaths. Simply because of the amount of murders that happens in City 1. So the rents are low and the prices are good too. You just gotta, say a lot of Hail Marys and cover yourself in the light of God, because you're bound to be probed by this haunting sooner or later. That's some scary stuff, right? To be able to call out an entire city based on the amount of murders and the fact that it's so bad that certain apartments lose value because of unsolved murders or dead people. Crazy. And you're welcome, because I know you've got several $1 million sitting around that you're dying to get rid of. Try not to die, but go ahead over to Hong Kong and get your groove on. You're going to pick up a nice looking pad for pennies on the dollar. But you might have to have the place cleansed. Have somebody go with some sage at least once a week to get the place cleaned out, because for Pete's sake, that's a lot of money to spend. And knowing that you have the potential to be haunted and disturbed every night from midnight to 3. Just completely nuts. Feel like I'm hanging from a thread here. This is the last one for tonight, and let's see if we can get through it. Bigfoot hunters are begging for a Bigfoot. See what I mean? It's almost time to check out. For Bigfoot to be left alone after Oklahoma suggests there should be a Bigfoot hunt. Now, we had this story as part of the Dark Horde network. I don't even remember if it was Dark Horde or if it was a Tempest Universe. But Oklahoma State Republican Justin Humphrey, he filed a measure, it was almost 2 weeks ago, basically saying that there should be an annual Bigfoot hunt because the creature's popular and elusive. Really, should we do that just for, like, maybe have an alien hunt? Or let's go out and hunt Nessie. Just give everybody torpedoes and let them go to town with it. So he says, listen, this is really about bringing tourism to the fact that Bigfoot is popular in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And in that state line, in between the two states, it's really popular. Shit, we can make a lot of money. He says he wants to put up a $25,000 bounty for the first one that nabs Sasquatch alive. Can you imagine that? 25 G's. I will shoot the first hairy person I find. Probably just like in the knees, though, because they got to be alive. But yeah, that's what's going on. So people who love Bigfoot, they're scared. They're upset about it. They want him to stop trying to get people to kill Bigfoot. This is up there with the folks that are trying to, hunt unicorns and fairies. It's all in the same boat. Humphrey says, I can promise I'm going to be one of the first ones to join the hunt. And he says, I'll guarantee you we'll have fun. And that's what it's all about after we put one in between the eyes of Bigfoot. I don't know. He didn't say that, but they're going to take it too far. Let's be honest. It's going to get out of control. And people are going to be out there during hunting season of Bigfoot trying to kill him. And someone's bound to some hairy fool is bound to get shot. And then there's the people who have the Bigfoot outfit sitting in their closet from, a few years back when they did the hoax. And they're going to want to take it out, brush it up real nice, put a couple of, hairpins in it, get the lipstick on, and go out there and try to challenge the notion that you can hunt Bigfoot. I could see someone crazy enough to do that kind of stunt out there in Oklahoma, Arkansas. Crazy. It turns out there was a New York-based Bigfoot enthusiast who said, hey, he goes by the name of Robusto. He says, no. You Bigfoot should be protected. Now, mind you, no one has ever captured a Bigfoot. We've seen pictures of hairy-ass apes. There's a bunch of theories of where he comes from, where he goes. But to date, 2021, there is no definitive evidence that Bigfoot exists. Because every time you find a footprint, you find someone that has stilts with big-ass feet at the bottom that they go around putting up fake footprints all over the place. But apparently Robusto, when he was being interviewed by the Post, said that these creatures should be preserved in their natural environment. And kind of new species like a Bigfoot even needs the protection of some kind of federal law. For real? Really? We're going to take it to the feds now to protect Bigfoot? Really, how do you describe Bigfoot? What genus is he? I mean, how do you categorize him as a species anyway? You don't even know what the fuck he is. Apparently, Robusto called the idea just a gimmick and pointed out that in his hometown of Whitehall, that Bigfoot, capital of the Northeast, they passed a law there, actually, back in the early 2000s, establishing the area as a protective habitat for Sasquatch, banning the willful harming of the creature. Apparently, they haven't seen the reported size of Bigfoot. And I think, what is it, like 10 foot tall? Weighs like 10,000 pounds? I mean, come on, really? Who's going to harm Bigfoot unless they're carrying a weapon? And even then, something that big, can you really even shoot it one time? No, you've got to unload on it. But let's be honest, it's either them or us. You can't let Bigfoot just run around all willy-nilly, challenging humanity. No, we gotta take that sucker down. Anyway, so if you go to Whitehall, all bets are off. You're not hunting Bigfoot. You're not looking at him dirty. You're not trying to put a swab in his ass. No, it's not going to happen in Whitehall. You can forget about it. You leave Bigfoot alone. The story continues on cryptids, by the way, because then they talk about that law in Whitehall was actually modeled after another law, keeping another cryptid protected, Lake Champlain's champ. Yeah, apparently in Washington, in Skamania County, they have a law that protects good old champ, the aquatic, whatever the fuck he is. This is crazy. Like, who has the one for the chupacabra? That's what I want to know. We need to protect the chupacabra too. Why? What is this? What's going on? We have racism among cryptids because nobody's protecting the chupacabra. I mean, he's sucking goats for a reason. Goats could be carrying all kinds of diseases. I'm just saying. In the year of, actually 2020, 104 Bigfoot sightings occurred in Oklahoma, 113 in New York. Listen, I don't think that's enough to start a law, to be honest. We need to get into the thousands. You give me a solid year where there's 1,000 Bigfoot sightings, then you can pass a law, because you're bound to catch one of those fools. But 113, come on, that could have been your cousin Earl, dressed up in his Bigfoot costume again. And he got so much joy of it the first time, he did it another 112 times. I'm just saying. This whole cryptid thing is pretty weird to me. But if you are yay or nay, either hunt Bigfoot or not, let me know. Do you think the law should pass in Oklahoma to have a Bigfoot hunting season? And by the way, in Whitehall, in New York, if you accidentally kill Bigfoot or you harm him, you don't get a fine. What's the law good for then? Yeah, so you could walk up to Bigfoot, give him the COVID test in the rear, smack him in the neck, stab him a few times, and if he's hurt, it's okay. You broke the law, but nothing's going to happen to you because he's a cryptid. He's not a real creature. I'm just saying. Maybe that's why. But in any case, if you feel like there should be a law protecting cryptids, let me know. Should Bigfoot be protected? Should the chupacabra be protected? Should the Mothman be protected? Come on. Somebody's got to protect that guy too. I'm just saying. I mean, him flying around could be a terrorist act. This is the end of the podcast. I thank you guys for coming in. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Don't forget to enter the sweepstakes. The link is at the very top part of the description. Just go in there and click and do what you do. And get your chance to earn one of these books. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good weekend. I'll probably pass out in about an hour. Hopefully waking up Monday morning. That would be just fantabulous. Ciao.
This is the final call of desperation.
Somebody save the Lake Tahoe monster. He's got rights too.